Hey there, I'm Debbie Crowley and welcome to ExpressivelyDeb.com. Today I have a flip-flop fun fold card for you with a gift card holder. So we're going to go through the process of making this. Layer dimensions, card-based dimensions, designer series paper dimensions, and I'm featuring the Dainty Flowers designer series paper, which is free during celebration, which runs for just about another month till the end of February, and it is just so pretty. Really is dainty and delicate, and I featured this with fresh freesia cardstock and basic white cardstock and some rich razzleberry ink I used, and the matching fresh freesia ribbon. So I do have a PDF tutorial prepared for this. It will be in the description, linked in the description box below. Simple, but it looks great, and it's a stunning gift to give somebody. Now, I did this design, I've seen it many ways. I did this in landscape. I did this on my blog maybe a year or two ago with a different pattern, but it's great to mix nice coordinating designer series paper. So you can do it in landscape the way I've done it, or you can do it in portrait where it would be your flip-flop would come up and it can come down, and decide which patterns of paper you want to use, and you'll have a beautiful card, which is also a gift. Okay, we're going to get started. So, first things first, I have all of the layers cut in the interest of time, and the card base is 4 1/4 across by 11 inches down, and I don't know what got on here, but anyway, 4 1/4 across, 11 inches down, and it's scored. And for the benefit of those who don't have the paper trimmer or are just getting the paper trimmer, I happen to know one person who is actually going to see this video, who just ordered the paper trimmer. So I will go ahead, even though I cut this, but the cardstock is cut at 4 1/4 inches, and it is scored at 2 3/4 inches and 5.5 inches. So I can find my 5.5 inch mark. There we go. My little scoring. Okay. I have pre-scored this, but that's really all of the scoring that you have to do. So what we're going to do with this layer is, of course, with the bone folder, we're going to fold the card in half and give it a little bit of a burnish, right? Get our crease nice and crisp. And then fold the front 2 3/4 inch scored portion, fold that back, and give that a little score. And do it. So we have to glue this part down. It could flop up and you can just turn it like that, but glued down is, I think it falls nicer. So I'm using the multi-purpose liquid glue. The second thing we need to know are all of the cutting dimensions for the basic white layers. Now, everything is on the project sheet, and I'm going to try to give you the dimensions so that you can pre-cut. I always like to pre-cut my layers before I put the card together. So the first layer is going to be the writing layer, which is going to be on the inside of the card. And I did 1/8 of an inch layers. I used matte layers here. So my basic white card layer is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. Okay, that's basic white layer number 1. Basic white layer number 2 is the layer that's going to go on the front of the card. They're going to be 2 5/8 by 4 1/8. Okay, so we'll do those layers first. Just putting some glue on. Okay, That's set in nicely. Now the front panel, the front left panel, we could put that layer on now. And that'll be the second. Okay, so that's it for the basic card base. Now, we're going to do, this is the insert, I call it the second card base, which is 3 1/4 inches. Let me just verify that for you because I'm doing this by memory. Yes, it is. It's 3 1/4 inches wide, and it is 8 1/2, I believe, in length. Hang on one sec. I think it's a full... Yes, so 3 1/4 inches wide, 8 1/2 inches long on the long side, scored at 4 1/4. Okay, and what we're going to do, this is eventually going to sit in here, and it's going to flip-flop over the front left panel. There you can see that. So it'll sit in and then flip-flop. So this layer, we cut, you will need 3 basic white layers. All of the layers are the same exact size. One is going to set here, one is going to set here, which is the inside, and then the other one is going to set here. Okay, so right now, these layers, these 3 basic white layers are 3 1/8. Since this is 3 1/4, this one is 3 1/8, and this piece measured 4 1/4, so this is going to be 4 1/8. So 4 1/8 on the long side, 3 1/8 on the short side, and you need 3 of them, okay? So I will go ahead and put those layers in now. There we go. And then this one, right here on this panel, we had a little warm spell here in New Jersey. Well, actually, average temperatures were in the high 40s, mid to high 40s and 50s, and we're supposed to have a really warmer weekend up in the 50s, which is unusual for us for this time of year. Okay, so this panel is going to eventually center in on the card base like that. And then the flap goes over. This is going to go over. So this is going to be the front of the card. So we have 2 layers that we put on the inside of our smaller card. We're going to turn the card over. And on this side, on the left side of the back, is where we're going to glue the other layer. So this is how it's going to look. Now, I don't have the Designer Series paper layers on there yet, but this is basically the card. So you have kind of a card in a card. Okay, so we'll work on the Designer Series paper. Now, this is going to set here, and again, 1/8 of an inch layers. So this piece will measure 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And that is also, everything is on the project sheet. I started with the card base, and I placed them where they were supposed to be on the card base, so I knew which layer I had. So that might help you. Okay, and then the coordinating Designer Series paper. This panel, this is the front panel, right? So this piece goes on the front panel. So this, I believe, is 2 3/4, 2 5/8. So this is 2 1/2. So 2 1/2 inches in width. And then this was 4 1/4, 4 1/8. So this is 4. So it's 2 1/2 inches by 4 inches. And that is the Designer Series paper measurement for the front left panel. I don't know, but now this particular pattern that I'm using here is a directional pattern. Keep that in mind when you're cutting your paper, or even, when you're cutting it, just keep that in mind, because you want the pattern to go in the right direction. And the same with this piece, which is going to be on the front. So that's done. So you can see how the designer series paper coordinates so beautifully, and the cardstock coordinates with it. It's pretty, and I love the rich razzleberry with this. Okay, so now for our card in a card, all we're going to do is the card, the inside card looks like this, right? You have two basic white layers on the inside, and then when you turn it over, the left side has the basic white layer, the right side is going to be glued down to the center of the card base. The card is coming together nicely. Okay, and then this piece, the designer series paper, goes on the front. Let's get some glue on that. The base was, this is what I do. The base was 3 1/4, and the white layer was 3 1/8 by 4 1/8, I believe. So this layer would be 3 inches by 4 inches. This is the gift card holder, and this is going to set in on this panel right here. Now, this is a die, and I recently, I think I mentioned it to you, that I recently did this for a card class, and I'll tell you, this gift card holder was a hit. This is from let me get my glasses, so that I can see it. This is the mini pocket envelope dies. They are in the annual catalog, and this is the die that I used for the gift card. It fits, I love it because it is just the right size. It can fit inside a card flap like this. It would fit here. In this card flap, if you wanted to do something else, it would fit here. So it's really a good size to fit in different areas of a card design. Okay, so that aside for a minute, we're going to put it together. So all you have to do here is fold and score. You can fold it in half, and then you'll see that there's a scored line across the side and a scored line on the bottom. So just fold both of those lines in, both of those little flaps, fold them in, and then fold this up on the score line. It's so easy. And the die takes a little less than a 6 by 6. So you can judge that way. And that's it. Put a little bit of glue on the flap, on each one of the flaps. And I used my silicone mat for this. And the silicone mat is great when you're working with glue. I know I've mentioned that before, but it's a handy tool to have. It's my little luxury. Okay, and then you just flip this over. And once this is over, you fold the flap on top, and that's it. Your gift card holder is done. So it's very quick and easy to put together. And this is going to set right here on this flap. Now, isn't that pretty? Doesn't that look pretty across? So put some glue. You really don't need a lot of glue when you're using the green glue, the multi-purpose. I don't use a lot. I try to keep it to a thin line around the sides, and then maybe a little something in the center. But that's it. So we are done. We just have to put our sentiment on, but that's the card. Nice and easy. Okay. Now the sentiment, I stamped on the card that I had made. I stamped it with one of the stamps from the Happiness Abounds stamp set in rich razzleberry ink. I just thought the sentiment fit beautifully in this. And this is an older punch that I had. But first, almost forgot, we're going to do the little ribbon embellishment. So this is the Fresh Freesia sheer ribbon which is very pretty. And I'm just going to do, maybe this is about 7.5 inches of ribbon. And then what I'm going to do is use a little bit of glue in the center. I would use my Stampin' Seal, but I don't have it, and I'm not going to take the time to get it, but that's about where we're going to put the glue. So we'll hold the ribbon, and I'll just put a little bit of glue there. Hold it down. I did diagonal from corner to corner. And then we will put some dimensionals on the sentiment. Put 3. And that center dimensional is also going to hold the ribbon in place. Take the little... Really, this paper's beautiful. Okay, and we're just going to center this over the ribbon. I think that looks about right. Okay, and have a little embellishment. We all like those little embellishments, and these are special. These are the brushed brass butterflies. They are so pretty. And you know, when they first came out, I used quite a few, but I used more using this designer series paper this time around. This is really pretty paper. Okay, I'm just picking them up. Picking it up with my, and I guess I'll put one right here. I think I had it like that on the, there we go. And this is the Take Your Pick tool. I know this is, some of you have seen this, but this is a great little tool. It has a putty end, and you can pick up your embellishments, pop them on. I usually use the point end or the spatula end to pick mine up, but most use the putty end for it. But it's really a handy tool, as is the bone folder, as is the silicone mat. All handy tools when you're stamping, and it just makes life easier for you. Okay, so that is that. The card is finished. Now, in the sample, I stamped the flower from one of the flowers from the Happiness Abound stamp set. I thought it looked pretty. I left it blank because I usually like to write my own sentiments, but you certainly can stamp a sentiment in here. And I have a little gift card in here that is a nice gift for somebody. So it's quick and easy to put together. What you have to remember is that your layers are cut. And once you cut your card base, cut your layers. And everything else will just fall into place for you. You'll actually see where the layers go. So as always, reach out to me if you have any questions. And remember to always express your creativity. And the only limitation is your imagination. Thanks for stopping by.